Tonight, we're talking about something people whisper about, maybe even joke about, deny that these things are happening. Sometimes to cope, people pretend that it doesn't exist. But if you've lived in a bigger body, you know exactly what I'm talking about, and you know exactly what it feels like. Size matters, not because you're not worthy, but because the world treats you like your size. I'm talking about body size matters. So tonight on GLP-1 Real Talk Live, we're talking about weight discrimination, weight bias, whatever you want to call it. It's the same thing. Gaslighting, even in your physician's office, in public spaces, the shame, the confidence, and what it means to navigate the world in a bigger body. So I've got my co-host Grant here, and we're going to talk about this serious issue and what that means as far as our weight loss and our health and wellness journeys. So Grant, tell us please, where did you feel? I'm talking about before your weight loss. And you are now at how many pounds down, Grant?
84.
At 84 pounds down, week 70,
One.
week 71, 84 pounds lighter. You look physically like a different man.
Mhm.
So tell me, how does it feel to be, by all intents and purposes, a thinner frame man versus a super morbidly obese man 1 year ago?
I feel a lot better for sure. I may look different, but I definitely feel probably more different than I look. And, you know, as for how people would treat me before, uh, you know, I think being a guy sometimes makes it a little less obvious. I mean, I'm not saying people didn't talk behind my back, who knows? But as a male, I don't think it's publicly put down as much. I don't know if that
Mm,
makes sense or not. But,
mm,
as for me, the only time I ever felt discriminated against or just embarrassed by it was at a theme park, not being able to fit in a roller coaster, and the
mhm,
looks you would get, like, really, you're slowing us down here. Why did you even try? Stuff like that.
mhm,
But
mhm,
that's the worst I can remember in the past myself.
mhm.
Um, but Christy can remember some other stories for her, but she's a woman, and you know, society, I tell you, as a woman, it's a lot harder to be bigger than it is a guy, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yes, I'm saying yes. I think that's absolutely the case. It is bias because size bias, right? There is a stigma, and I felt it, and I'm still feeling it. Grant, I want to ask you though, because you have been 71 weeks on your weight loss journey, and by all accounts, you look amazing. And if I did not know you, I would say, if someone say, "Who is Grant?" I say, "Oh, he's a thin man, salt and pepper beard." But I would say he's a thin man. How do you respond when folks, or do people respond to you as, this very obese man?
You know, it's humbling in a way, now that I've lost the 84 pounds. And, you know, when people say at church or, wherever I'm at, man, you're looking good, you're looking good. And, I just don't want to say, well, thanks.
Well, golly.
I'm just like, Well, and I just like I already said, well, I feel a lot better, so thank you. You know, something
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, it's very humbling for sure.
Welcome in, Cookie. Grant, I guess what I'm asking is, do you still see yourself? Do you feel like you're an obese man? Or when you're
Yeah.
at the gym and you see the floor to ceiling mirrors when you're working out with your trainer,
Well, I
how do
purposely
you
don't
see
work out
yourself?
in front of mirrors.
Okay.
I still
Okay.
don't. I don't want to see it, but I still feel like sometimes I am that bigger man, and it's not until I'm looking at the videos after I'm just like, wow, I didn't realize my legs were that thin now, or it just it the state of mind takes a lot longer to change than the body sometimes.
Mm-hmm. 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 I agree because even and I'm just beginning my Zepbound weight loss journey. I am on week 14. I took my week 14 dose this past Saturday, and now I'm a total of 25 pounds down. You might have saw a vlog type of video, and that was my week 11-12 update. And so I did lose pounds last week. I'm still losing on the 2.5 milligram starter dose, and I'm still waiting for, I guess, approval or waiting for some level of validation because I am a woman. And I honestly hear more from folks on YouTube that tell me, I can see the changes in your face. I can see that you're slimming down. I can see, I can see it. I can literally see it, KendyK. But then when you're around your closest family and friends, is it that they don't see it or they refuse to acknowledge it?
It's hard to know. I mean, I'm the same way. I mean, locally, I mean, I'd have had some tell me, man, you look great and all that, but I get a lot more from my support on here, and it is odd, that you wouldn't get more. I don't know if support's the right word because I think I still have great support here, but it's just not as verbal. I don't know why.
Mm-hmm. 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 And not, I mean, I'm 50 years old. Okay. So, I'm a mom and, I'm a full grown woman over here. Right. I like to say a lady of a particular age. So it's not like, but it just makes you say, right. And that's why at 50, I think we all know you keep your circle. My inner circle is real tight at this moment because everybody's just not. Some folks were really okay with you being that unhealthy. They were really okay seeing you struggle health wise. They were okay with that. And now, and I've talked about this with one of my really good friends and also a close one of my first cousins, and she is also, both of them are on weight loss journeys as well. And we've talked about this issue several times, and they talk about you when you're fat, and then when you're honestly working to lose weight, they know that you're in my case going to the park just about every day, working out with with my physical therapist because of the wreck and everything, but I also was working out before the wreck. I'm doing all the things that I am pushing the high protein, the low carbs, and high fiber diet at every meal. Yet they'll talk about everything else under the sun except for the weight issue. But it's not just a personal issue, one-on-one. And thank you all to all those who have streamed in here and who are joining us. There's another one of our folks in our collective here, the GLP-1 collective, who is taking a GLP-1 for medical supervised weight loss. Be well with Kara. Welcome. And if you're not familiar with her, check out her channel. And friends, if you're interested in connecting with Grant's Faithful GLP-1 Journey, or me, KendyK, all day, or any of our regular panelists, go ahead and check in the description box. The links to all of our channel pages are right there for you. But it's not just a personal issue, but it's one that has hit the media very recently here. And I'm talking about Southwest Airlines, Grant. Southwest Airlines has done an about face. Now, if you're not familiar with Southwest Airlines, I don't know how much you and your family fly, Grant, but Southwest is known as a discount carrier, similar to Frontier and Alaskan Airlines. They're a discount carrier. So a lot of folks will go to Southwest, and before their big changes, they had open seating on the airplane, right? And you could pretty much sit anywhere. There was an open seat, and I've been on a few Southwest flights, and you pretty much just grab a seat and sit in it. And they said that was part of their business model for years. That's how they became a discount carrier, and they allowed 2 bags for free, no baggage fees. And so that's why so many folks were using Southwest. But hey, in the last, 6, 7, 8 months, they have done an about face, and they have assumed the position like all the other airlines. And that is that you have an assigned seat and boarding time, and you must pay for every bag that you check. And so my mom was typically a Southwest flyer. She goes to visit me and my siblings all over the country. And so it was cheaper. And why we like Southwest for her is we could get her to everyone's house now but mine nonstop on Southwest, right? So that's what made it work for us. But on one of her recent trips, $80 each way for bags. She had 2 suitcases, right? Because we always load her up with new clothes and new stuff, right? $80 each way. And I said, y'all, they're getting us. We might as well just pay for Delta tickets, right? Delta, American, United, right? Y'all add it up. But Southwest, when they went to that new pricing model with assigned seats and assigned boarding classes, they also said, and from this moment forward, we're going to charge customers who are above average in size, i.e. obese, and we are going to charge you the price for another seat if your body cavity infringes upon someone else's. They're going to charge you and require payment at the time that you make your reservation or at the time that you board the airline. So talk about, just to read that, Grant, I feel every emotion as a fat woman. I feel anger. I feel embarrassment. Like I feel my face right now as I'm sharing this getting warm, flush. I've never had that happen, but have I needed to ask the flight attendant for a seat extension? Yeah. Yes. And not just on Southwest. But I've never been told as I boarded, you're going to need to pay for another seat. Well, Southwest, of course, they got extreme backlash. Y'all, this just happened. This is breaking news, right? This just happened. And so Southwest got such a deluge of backlash, negative backlash, that they have changed the policy a bit and said that they would no longer charge if you needed an extra seat. They would only charge if there are no more seats available, or they would have to put you on a new flight. So what they would do, if you infringed upon another person's seat, and because of your size, they reserve the right to move you to a later flight.
That's a little more doable, I think. I mean, still not ideal, but a little more doable than saying you got to pay double. I mean, that's just,
Yeah. Yeah.
and the percentage of people like that, I mean, that was just sound like a money scheme to me. But you know, it sounds like they're trying to step up getting their revenue streams going because of the fuel and all. Yeah, we
Yeah.
understand that, but like you said, you might as well do Delta or American Airlines. Now, have they made you charge? I've never had experienced that, but do they require that on those airlines?
I have no idea. I have never been denied boarding on Delta or Southwest. The last time I took a Southwest flight was probably, I don't know, 3-4 years ago. I was down in Eugene, Oregon, and I took a quick trip to Vegas to have some fun with friends. And we can fly from Eugene, Oregon to Las Vegas, Nevada, nonstop. So you better believe we jumped on that Southwest flight. Otherwise, Delta, I would have had to change planes. And wow, that's a bummer. Just going from Oregon to Vegas, that's crazy. So anyway, but no, I've never been denied boarding for being too large to fit in the seat. I have. I don't know very many obese people who have not had, if you fly at all, who have not had to ask for that seat extension, because frankly, sometimes the way that the size of airline seats anywhere behind first class and business class have shrunk inches. Okay. If you get the privilege of flying on a brand new plane, you're going to notice it immediately. And they look more like the Southwest seats because they're trying to pack as many bodies into those airplanes as possible. So you're right, Grant. It is certainly a cost factor and a profit margin that they're doing in that case. And the point being is that I've seen people who, if you have on a puffer coat during the wintertime, that can be the cause. And then they'll tell you, hey, do not put any coats in the overhead baggage. We need that for all of the rollerboard bags, because everyone's trying to take their little bag on board because nobody wants to pay for those baggage fees. But that's why I fly Delta, because I got status over there and I can fly 3 bags for free, right? So it all works out for me. But yeah, everyone's trying to save a buck. This economy is terrible. But yeah, those seats have shrunk. I've seen very average sized people, depending on if you got on a cardigan over your clothes, or it is surprising to see how many folks might need that extension, or they're sucking it in to get everything in and get that seatbelt closed if you're in anything beyond outside first class and business class seats. So yeah, that Southwest, they have had to reverse course because they got terrible backlash in the last week or two. And they have now said, okay, so if we do happen to charge you for the extra seat, and then we end up taking off and there is an extra seat beyond that available on that flight after we charged you for the additional seat as an oversized customer, we will refund you that payment, but you've got to contact us within 90 days to request that refund. So I'm happy to report that as part of the GLP-1 Real Talk Live session tonight, Grant, that Southwest, they're trying to help passengers. And, but it tells you size does matter. And then you hear snickering, you feel people staring at you. Well, I can't be the first fat person you've ever met, and I'm certainly not the largest person that you've ever met. And it just really, why is it okay to talk about someone's size, but we don't talk about other disabilities? Why do we teach our children not to stare except for when they're fat? Then that's the one exception. Graham?
It's a good question. And, I don't know if it's ever parents doing that on purpose or not, or if it's just because they can't control looking themselves, so they just kind of pass that down. But I kind of a sidebar here. You mentioned not talking a lot about other things, but autism has stepped up in the airline world as well as being discriminated against, and
Mm.
actually been asked to get off the planes before emergency landings. It's ridiculous, but with again, that's a sidebar, another topic
Wait
really.
just a second though. Grant, are you saying that you and your family have been asked to?
No, thankfully not
Okay.
us. We have been fortunate that Delta has been very good about accommodating, letting us on first, getting her in place before the crowd starts loading and all that. That's been great. But lately, probably within the last 2 weeks, there was a really big story going around about a poor mother having to deal with her meltdown child because they didn't bring a lot of food. So, they probably learned their
Mhm.
lesson there. But they were trying to get food from first class. They finally did that. But in the process, they emergency landed and asked them off the plane because they were disturbing everybody. And they felt at risk, really. But again, so it's not just large people are looking at now too, but
Yeah.
it's sad. It's sad.
Thank you for sharing that, Grant. Sandra James living it. She's a colorectal cancer survivor living with an ostomy. So she has a colostomy bag externally. And she says she can relate to being stared at. Yeah, yeah. And it makes me think about something that one of our regular panelists, Mounjaro Journey with Pam, she tells the story on her channel. She has lost a significant amount of weight, as much weight as a grown man, and she's now in maintenance on after taking Mounjaro. She tells the story, and you'll have to check out her channel again. Her link to her channel is in the description box. But she tells the story of her grandson, who is a leukemia survivor, and she tells the story of him being actively in treatment and in the hospital, hospitalized, etc. And the doctor talking about him needing to get up, and you know how they tell you, and walk the halls, and just that's very part of your recovery and things like that. And she said the doctor, and that has stuck in my mind, and that's why I wanted to talk about this today. She said that her grandson's doctor, okay, so the oncologist says to her, as an obese woman and as her grandson's grandmother, he looks over to her and says, you need to be walking too. Now that's a gaslighting situation, isn't
Yeah,
it?
no doubt. No doubt. Yeah. I mean, that wasn't her doctor, really wasn't his place. But
I mean, of all the things that you could say to a family who is dealing with childhood cancer, right? You take a licensed specialist, takes that cheap shot. That's a very cheap shot. It takes me back to, I've had a total knee replacement on the left side. And I mean, my surgeon in Texas, shout out to that surgeon, but I'm not mentioning his name because, y'all, the man had to be 6 feet tall and he maybe weighed 150, maybe. So very thin. You could tell as the person probably thin your whole life. And the method and manner in which he told me, I will not do your surgery till you lose 50 pounds. Okay. Well, what are you going to do to help me to lose that 50 pounds, sir? And what am I going to do in the meantime? Because I pulled up to the Publix to get groceries for myself. and I can't even get out the car because I am in complete and utter pain after having worked all day. And Grant, that's how bad it had gotten, that I would, and I knew I had to do something, has got to give. I've got to go and see about this knee. And by that time, those dreaded words, bone on bone, bone on bone. And I was living outside of Chattanooga, Tennessee at the time, in East Tennessee. But yeah, I would pull up to the store and several days, and I would just sit there and, will myself to, what do I need? Let me kind of map it out in my head. And yeah. And yes, excess weight on your knees, on your joints, yes, that will decay that cartilage very fast and cause me to have a total knee replacement. And so that's why I'm on my weight loss journey at this moment. But size does matter. Do I feel like I've been discriminated? Yes, as a Black woman in the workplace, as a woman in the workplace, and definitely as a fat Black woman in the workplace. Absolutely, yes, and absolutely, yes.
I was going to interject right quick there. One reason I think my trainer at the gym's been working on my hips so much is because he knows there's probably damage from years past to being over 300 pounds. And he's trying to build that up along with my knees. And I ain't saying there's no popping going on, but it seems to be helping. Popping in our joints.
Well, I'm seeing a chiropractor, and I'm so super pleased with my chiropractor. Seeing the chiropractor on a very regular schedule, multiple times a week, because of the car accident, and you know about that, Grant, that I was in April. But yeah, when he showed me the X-rays, I said, "Oh wow, I'm crooked," and he didn't have to tell me because I already knew I'm crooked because weight, because total knee replacement on one side, but that means that I am, in my case, the left side where I've had the total knee replacement is now my good knee. And so I am using that knee much more. And so, yeah, my walk is not quite right. And he assures me it's a process. He assures me that adjustments are going to help with that. But I worry about my hip situation. And there's lots of popping happening with that as well. We've got other questions. And y'all, I want to make sure that I'm getting your comments up on the screen. And so let's take a look at some of the comments. There's our friend Metabolic Midwife, and she says she's happy to be here with us discussing this. Y'all, this is real talk. We can laugh about these things, or we can laugh to keep from crying. But these things are happening to folks. And what it makes me think about, Grant, more than anything, is that choose to be kind, right? Choose to be kind, because so many people, and I'm seeing it now, I fly out for work and for vacations and things like that. But I noticed in the airport, every airport now has a system for like folks who might be on the spectrum. Grant, do you all use that for your daughter when you all fly?
Yeah, we do. They accommodate, let you on before and all that, and get to your seats, which we usually try to do the back, so it's not so distracting, and usually that, you have to pay to choose your seats, but hey, it's worth it in the long run.
Yes.
Yeah.
But like even in the airport, in the terminals themselves,
yes,
get
they help
special
with security and all that. Yeah, definitely, it helps a lot, and they'll offer that for people, with, if they're larger and can't walk all that way, they'll offer services to push you through the airport terminal and all, and it's good, and that they offer that, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it's totally fine, because if y'all, sometimes during the year, I am going from Seattle, Washington, or Portland, Oregon, all the way to Virginia. And friends, that's what you call a long haul. Long haul. Okay. And friends, if KendyK is tired and I'm now 50 years old, oh, I'm absolutely going to get on the people mover. Yes, I'm absolutely going to get on the people mover because I want to be fabulous when I am spending the holidays with my family and with my friends. And so I am not going to walk 2 miles easily in some of these airports to get to my next gate. I'm just am not. No. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go refresh myself. I'm going to go to the ladies' room. I'm going to refresh myself. I'm going to spend some time in the Delta Lounge. And then I'm going to get on the people mover and make my way to my gate. But friends, I love traveling because I know that I'm going to hit my 10,000 steps every day. When it's a travel day for me, by the time I'm running around the house trying to get a bag packed or repacked, and by the time I am crisscrossing these airports, going through TSA, getting down to the gate, all of these things, I know I'm going to hit my 10,000 steps. So it's always going to be a good day for that. And I can't wait until my phone has a little celebration on the phone, letting me know that I've accomplished the 10,000 steps. Y'all, we're talking about the real issues of what it's like to live in a larger body in American society. It's not so pretty. It's not so fun, but we have vowed on Real Talk, GLP-1 Real Talk Live to talk about these real experiences. We've got Kara ringing in again. I experienced that in Athens, Georgia. Okay. Thin male orthopedic surgeon. I won't do surgery on your bone knee because you need to lose weight. I tell you how, but I know you won't do it. And that's when you get your purse and you walk away in your kitten heels. That is his loss. And his loss because total knee replacements are elective procedures. And so, yes, that's your revenue that you're losing with your nasty self, your doctor.
Absolutely.
Y'all, it takes me, y'all, I wish we were just more kind to each other because you don't know about anybody's disabilities or hidden disabilities that are not just apparent to the eye. Because to be honest with you, and I hate to just keep taking this back to the airplane, to be honest with you, I'm offended by the people who bring their behinds on the plane and haven't bathed in days. I'm offended by that. That offends me.
We don't need no boo. We don't need no BO.
Right. Have you ever had this situation, Grant? Have people treated you differently based on what they saw you eating?
No, I've never noticed that myself personally, but again, I might just not have been paying attention to everybody else, but my people I've grown up with and live around, they know I'm a picky eater anyway, so they've gotten used to that. But no, even when I was larger, I didn't, you think about somebody bigger that has a big old plate that's just piled up high from the bar or, the buffet or whatever. But
I don't even like buffets. I haven't eaten buffets since I was a child. I don't eat Prof style. I don't care for it. That's what we did.
Well, COVID kind of sealed the deal on that for me.
Exactly.
But, I used to go to Ryan's Steakhouse. That was the place to go, but not anymore. But I never did that. Okay. My weight wasn't because of overeating; it was other things. So I didn't really ever have people looking at me, oh my gosh, look at all he's eating, because I never really did.
Yeah, I was not a big overeater, but is obesity a disease that is nature and nurture? Absolutely. I've shared that before. All the women on my dad's side and on my mom's side, obese was thin. I'm talking obese, morbidly obese, and then super morbidly obese. So obese would be the smaller women on both sides of my family. And then it was, we had spaghetti every week. My mom and dad both working class family. Yeah. Well, you could stretch 1 pound of ground beef a long ways with a pound of spaghetti noodles, right? So it is what it is. And now that I know healthy eating, using whole foods, y'all, it's very expensive. And it always has been. It's very, very expensive. Metabolic midwife, we got so many folks chiming in here. Metabolic midwife says, I'm able to reach out more now that I am healthy. So you're able to be more supportive of others because you are now healthy. That's a very good point. I invite bigger people, larger people to sit next to me. I offer to carry their luggage or groceries. I do what I can. I find myself doing the same thing as well. I can recall being in the business class, which is Comfort Plus on Delta Airlines, and it was a guy, and he was a large guy. He was an overweight guy, and he had taken the seat belt. I was on the window. I'm always on the window, and he had taken the seat belt and he had just pulled it across himself because he was just holding it in his hand because he could not. No way could he have, fastened it, but I don't think he realized that he was in the business class, which are the seats are larger, and consequently the seat belts are longer. And I kept saying, well, should I tell him or no? Or is it not my business or no? And I finally told him, and I said, you got a whole bunch. I said, you're trying to put it into the wrong. He was trying to put it into the middle seat. And so he was trying to stretch it too far. I said, you got a lot of room over there. And he was like, oh, so we became fast friends, right? We became fast friends on that flight. And it just made everything more comfortable because, y'all, I could see it on his face. I've been there. We've all been there. And this is just a reminder as we lose weight. And Grant, you have done an amazing transformation of your body. You and your wife Christy have just lost a significant amount of weight, and consequently you're going to Dollywood, and I think you're on your way. Are you on your way? What vacation is coming up next for you, Grant, you and your family?
Well, we're going to Florida. I don't think we're going to make it to Disney or anything this time, but the fact that we're going to drive 12 hours straight down there and probably be able to do it a lot more feasibly now because of us being healthier. But
Yeah.
uh, going on the beach and not, you know, worrying about what you look like and all that. I mean, there's a lot of factors there. But before we move on from Barb's point there, I mean, it just life really depends on your perspective. And when you've been where other people have been, and in this case with weight, it really and it should make you a lot more compassionate for their status and their situation. And that kindness that we can show those others, I think goes a long way, and it's important because other people, and not all, but a lot of people that have been thin their whole lives just don't understand.
Yeah. They don't
And
have to think about it.
yeah, but we do. So we got to use that perspective for the good, for
Hmm.
sure.
Hmm. Now let's talk about this. Now, going out to dinner and things like that. Are you one that prefers to sit at a table and chairs or booth?
It used to be table and chairs because you didn't have the room at a booth.
Right.
But now it's like, wait a minute, it's no longer up against me anymore. And that's such a nice feeling, and being able to go to the booth and not have to worry about getting squeezed. And or going to a booth and say, does the table move? Because some of them still do, some of them don't, but some of them they'll scoot. And I still remember, having to scoot mine, and then you know Christy having to scoot hers, and then it's like, well, we can't scoot both ways. So you know it ended up being a table so you could scoot back. So
Hmm.
that's a
Hmm.
good point.
Yeah, I've always though preferred. I like to I would low key walk into the restaurant and I'm kind of I trying to eyeball the booth situation. Can I get in there? And because y'all, I prefer the booth because I don't want to sit on a hardback chair with no cushion on it. I always like the booth because you know I want to have a good time. I want to chit chat. I want to I want to, hey, we're out socializing, we're out having dinner. I want to have, it's the social aspect of it as well. So I was always looking for the booth, but I was always looking, trying to see, can I get in that booth? Is that, is the table in front of it? Am I able to move that a little bit if needed? But yeah, and then it's the, scooching over in the booth, right? And to this day, and I don't even know as I continue on this weight loss journey, Grant, I don't know if I am 5'5", and I think I've shrunk a little bit. I know I have after the total knee replacement, and because I'm 50. But I don't feel like I'm tall enough for the, what do they call the high top tables that you see now in restaurants and
around the
bar
bar and
areas.
stuff. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because it is so awkward to get up on those at my height. And as a big woman, it's tough. It's tough. And it looks crazy, and there is nothing cute about that. So, nope. If you take me out on a date, I said, no, here I go. This is what I say, Greg. I'm a lady. I'm a lady.
Yeah.
No, I want to sit at a table.
Well, Cheddar's has those huge booths too, if you've ever been there.
They do,
So
yes.
it feels like before when I had to scoot out of those, it's like it felt like days getting out of that thing because now not such a big deal.
You really are. You're crawling around. Yes, or you're crawling. Yeah, you can fit like 3 or 4 people on average size people, I should say, on at those tables at Cheddar's. That's funny. Yeah. Doses of Shani says, thank you for joining us, Doses of Shani. Y'all, if you want to connect with Doses of Shani, check down in the description box of this video. She says, my oldest son didn't want to sit next to me on our 13-hour flight to Spain. I didn't know why, and he told me afterwards. I don't blame him. He would have been very uncomfortable. And if I recall, your sons are very tall as well. So, okay. That's fair.
It still probably was hard, no doubt. But,
yeah, especially as a mom. And
I didn't get offended. Well, that's good, Shani. I mean,
yeah,
it would have been hard not to be though, even if it was your son. That's
was hard. That's hard. Vivi says, being large, overweight on both sides of her family. Mm-hmm. And one side is worse than the other. Chairs with no arms. It's bizarre. So have you noticed, Grant, in the doctor's offices? And so now I look for accommodations. I look and it tells me that this is intentional. And I like when physicians' offices are being intentional. And I noticed it right away when moving to the Pacific Northwest. I'm talking about Oregon and Washington State. Go to the physician's office and they have very tall, like those bar height chairs in the waiting room for people who are really tall. And as a person like me who has a total knee replacement and orthopedic issues, I kind of like sitting in that, counter height chair. It's a counter height chair because versus sitting down really low, I like sitting. I'm like, where's that chair at? Because they usually have 1 or 2 in the waiting room. And then have you noticed that they'll have like a bench situation? I've even seen that now, even within some of the exam rooms. Instead of just having a chair with arms on it, they'll have a longer bench that to me is meant to accommodate folks who are larger size. And to me, that's being intentional. That's being intentional.
Yeah. I've noticed it, and we have a newer doctor's office here, and they have those taller chairs at areas of course, with plugs and USB ports, so people can plug in, just like
Yeah.
airports do now
Yeah.
too. But I remember the clinic I used to go to when I was 8, 9, 10 years old. They used to have those chairs that would sink. I mean, you sit down and it just go down. And you would see poor older people or bigger people having trouble getting out of them things because you were not only as low as the chair, but you went lower because the cushion was so unsupportive. So they've gotten rid of those at a lot of doctors'
Yeah.
offices.
And worse than that, Grant, as soon as you sit down and they say, can you bring your insurance card up, please? Can I get your copay? Yeah. Cookie, welcome in. Cookie, you've been here with us. Thank you for joining us for this important stream. Y'all, we're talking about how size does matter in American society, especially. Size really does matter. We're talking about weight bias, weight discrimination, living life in a bigger body. And knowing that and using that, for me, a reason why I want to take charge of my health, and but that's the biggest reason, is taking charge of my health. I want to live longer, I want to live healthier, and I want to travel and see the rest of the world. I always like the booth in restaurants, even if it was a tight squeeze. I still prefer the booth. I'm telling you, I always prefer that booth because it's I like the cushion in the booth, to be clear. We've got so many. Sandra says, look at how far you all have come. It's such a joy to see transformation and change. And that's what this panel is about. It's about talking through our transformation, our change. And friends, if you haven't realized it yet, we are not medical providers, and this should not be construed as medical advice. What we're doing is just sharing our real life stories and our real life experiences as people of a particular age who are on weight loss journeys. I am taking Zepbound. I am on week 14, a 2.5 milligram dose. And Grant, would you remind folks who might just be joining this stream about your weight loss journey?
Well, I've been on Mounjaro since January 19th of 2025, and on my 71st week, and I've titrated all the way up to 15 milligrams. And not only have I lost 84 pounds, which has been a great benefit, but I've gotten my type 2 diabetes under control with the Mounjaro. So 4.8 as of March. Yeah, March,
Wow.
1st of March, A1C. And then I have another appointment in 2 days to see where if it's still there or a little lower, or hopefully staying about the same, because they don't want you too much lower than that.
Right. I was going to say
Yeah.
4.8 is like very within the quote average range, or the range they're hoping it for your A1C to be, correct?
Right. Exactly.
Congratulations. Congratulations. And I'm so proud that you're able to share that, because it's not just about pounds down, it's about restoring your wellness and being able to do more things with your kids. I love seeing you and Christy with the hikes. And Christy, tell us about Christy. She just did some big race, rim to rim, something in West Virginia. Tell us a little bit about that. That's a
Yeah, that
great
was
scale victory.
absolutely. And that was a 10K race, which is 6.2 miles, I believe. And it was actually going down and back up the gorge where we're at. It's called the New River Gorge. And the hill she went up, guys, I need to do a video there just to show how steep it was. It really amazed me, because she might have slowed down, but she didn't stop running the whole time. And so she really impressed me by doing that. But she is on trizipatide. There we go, compound. And she's going up to 5 milligrams starting next week. She's on her 5th week of 2.5.
Well, Grant, I'm going to see where my weight loss is. We're heading into the summer months, and I've got a lot of things on my agenda, social outings on my agenda. And I'm wondering, over the next week or two, I've got one more dose left. A 2.5 is now a good time to titrate up. And so my doctor already has the prescription. It's already on file. It's just ready for me to pull the notch on that. And I am a self-pay customer. So I'm ordering the brand dosing directly from Lily Direct. And so we got lots of folks chatting with us tonight, Grant. Reset with CC says, I prefer the booth because when I was in the booth and Reset with CC, wow, lost an enormous amount of weight, well over 200 pounds. And she just reached, I just saw your video today, CC, she just reached her goal weight, something in the 100 and something pound, 140 maybe. And congratulations, Reset with CC. We applaud you. And because as bigger people ourselves and folks who are on GLP-1s for medical supervised weight loss, we know exactly what you've gone through from week to week. And so phenomenal. And we salute you, CC. She said, but being in a booth at a restaurant helped her to feel less visible. And Cookie says, maybe that's why I preferred the booth too. And it kind of makes me think, yeah, there's probably a part of me that preferred that booth versus being sitting out in the open at a table. Hmm, hmm, yeah. Nicole Ray, GLP-1, again, a great weight loss and sharing also not only her weight loss, but her other health issues, and sharing both so transparently. Thank you for showing up in the way that you do, Nicole Ray, GLP-1. I now fit in medical office chairs with my purse sitting in the same chair next to me. Yes! As ladies, we know exactly that is a non-scale victory. Nicole Ray, GLP-1, being able to not only sit your body in a chair, but to have your bag next to you in that same chair. I love that. I love that. Sandra James says, we have those in some of the waiting rooms at my primary medical physician's office. The regular seats are very nice and comfortable, which is a plus. Yes, yes. What's really good now is not having to worry about that. And even with just being at, and I'm not going to say just being 25 pounds down so far. I'm not going to say just, I'm not going to put that, limiter on that. I'm just going to say me being 25 pounds down, everything is easier. Getting in and out of the car is easier. Getting in and out of bed is easier. Yesterday, church, working in my yard. Sandra James was also working in her yard. Y'all, I cut the backyard. My boy cut the front yard, but I cut the backyard, and I was tired, but I loved it because I love being able to move my body. So, yeah. So I'm going to keep cutting the backyard. And doing what I do because I always cut my backyard because I love playing in the dirt. I love playing in my yard. I love, doing the yard stuff. But yeah, I'm on my way back. I'm on my way back after this car wreck. And so that was a big non-scale victory for me. Any non-scale victory for you, Grant, that you want to share? And if you have a non-scale victory, drop it in the chat. And we're gonna end on that, sharing everyone else's non-scale victories. But Grant, go ahead, share any of yours.
Well, the mowing grass is still my main one too right now, being this season. I a few weeks ago mowed my mom's grass, push mowed it. First time I rode it, and I'm like, no, I'm going to push it this time, and because it looks better and all that. Plus, I wanted to see how I do. And years ago, because it's probably been 3 years since I mowed grass at all, and this time it only took me an hour to push the front and back, and it took me almost 2.5 hours before.
That's a victory. Wow. Good for you, Grant.
I would have to puff that inhaler more than once. I don't even need that anymore.
Yes.
And I, would have to stop and catch my breath. And, none of that occurs now. And it's amazing how when your body heals from the inside out, it's not just your weight. It's also the inflammation that caused your asthma goes, for me, has went away, and more than likely would for others. My sleep apnea is gone. All that because of that weight loss and the benefits of the GLP-1. And before I stop talking here, if you don't mind, I had a few people follow me from my channel here. I wanted to
Okay.
shout
I
out.
see. You call them out. I see Benjamin. Hey, Benjamin. I've been seeing you on the YouTube streets.
Yeah, and I had Reddy Birdie in here. She's a gaming buddy that's also on the GLP-1.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I am blame it on me, not on
it's okay.
Grant. So y'all chime right on in, say something else so I can see you down at the bottom of the chat and put you right on up.
Of course, Tommy Jones from my channel. You saw him earlier.
Jerry.
And one other thing that I saw that I thought was a good point, because we were talking about how children stare a lot, especially when it comes to overweight people. And Sandra said that it's stigma sometimes embedded in the little ones as well early on. Plus, they hear what adults are saying to perpetuate it. So that's a good point.
Our children are listening to every word, every word that we say.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And then G's was in here. G's one of one. He's another one on GLP-1.
All of those.
It was around.
Y'all, let me back it up. Let me back it up. Oh my goodness.
And then I saw somebody else. Of course,
There's
Nikki Ray,
Nicole Ray. There's our guy. Jeez.
Yeah. Nicole Ray, you've I think had her up a few times.
Yeah, Nicole Ray.
She's great. And
I know we said hello to the Boss Way. Yeah. Well, we thank everyone who has joined us, y'all. If you do have a non-scale victory, we've got 2 minutes for you to share your non-scale victories with us. If you're on a weight loss journey with or without GLP-1s, without medication, because some people have been successful with that. And by the way, Grant, have you heard that Eli Lilly today is releasing their GLP-1 pill?
Oh, really? I have not.
Yes. Wow. It is called Fondeo or Fondego. June 1 is the drop day. So it was dropped today, released today. Eli Lilly now has a weight loss GLP-1 in pill form, So be looking for more information on that. But the
do you care putting Shawnee's thing up from 712 about it starts out Kendi, I say this because you see that? That's a good point.
612, so for
712. 712. Yeah.
I haven't had to. Who did you say? Doses of Shawnee?
Shawnee.
Yes. Doses of Shawnee said KendyK. I'm on 2.5 milligrams. This is week 14 for me on 2.5 milligrams. And Shawnee says, and Shawnee has lost over 100 pounds on the same medication, Zepbound. Okay. She's lost over 100 pounds in a year. And that is utterly amazing. Utterly amazing. Shawnee, I saw you today in your, it was something day at the park. What did she have on? She had on her action hero ears and shirt. Avengers. Wasn't it?
Yeah,
was it Avengers?
Yeah, it was Marvel. She went to Disneyland.
I'm locked in, Shawty. I'm locked in, friend. I'm locked in, friend. She says, KendyK, I say this because you want to maximize each dose. You're right. I am not diabetic. Y'all, that's my worst fear. That's another reason why I pursued GLP-1s, because my father was type 2 diabetic. One of my brothers, type 2 diabetic. One of my paternal grandmother, type 2 diabetic before her death. So you can go at your own pace. Okay. Thank you for the reminder. This is my body and it is my pace for my body's weight loss. Thank you. Thank you, friend. Thank you, friend. I appreciate that. Shani says she didn't know. Did Shani say something else? Okay. Yeah, it does take a little bit. There's a little bit of delay to bring folks over from the vertical stream. So shout out to those who are joining us from the vertical stream, and shout out to you, y'all. Thank you for being here. This was a very important conversation, and I hope that we covered the issues, and what we're going to do is we're going to bring this one back because there's a lot more for us to talk about here. Grant, when can folks connect with you next on your channel?
I should be on Wednesday morning for my walk around the block.
Okay, and I dropped one of my lifestyle videos today. It's updating you for weeks 11 and 12. I'm a little bit behind, y'all. I'm just a part-time content creator, but check me out. I'm doing a mini dress haul, and I showed you how showing you how to do some fish and some trout, and I did some Instapots, plant-based beans for my protein. So check me out for that long form video, and check Grant out live. And y'all, he is a gamer as well. Y'all, thank you for rocking and riding with us in these YouTube streets. We appreciate you being a part of the GLP-1 collective. We appreciate, we would not have this collective, this panel weekly on Monday nights without each and every one of you. We wish you well on your weight loss journey. And y'all, let's just be kind.
Absolutely.
Goodbye for now. If our hearts and minds are clear, go in peace. Goodbye for now.
Bye.